Is it a buyer or seller's market? Are single-family residential homes prices going up or down in Palm Coast? What are the driving factors that are causing price changes or differences in a similar market from last year or prior years? Stick around and I'm going to share this data and my thoughts. So hey, if you've been reading the headlines lately about the housing market, you've probably been getting mixed signals of what's really happening out there. For instance, you might see a headline stating home prices decline, or articles like this from Redfin, which reported home prices have dropped 3%. Or maybe you've seen this article from Narada where it states that experts are divided into the housing market predictions and forecasts for 2023, and then goes to say, however, home prices are forecasted to continue rising at a slower rate while home sales may continue to decline due to demand imbalances. It really seems like the more you read, the more confused you get on the subject. The reason this happens is because different articles use different statistics depending on the source and what they're trying to explain. And for the most part, they use very broad data such as national or regional statistics. So today I'm going to share some national data with you and some local data specifically catering to single-family residential homes here in Palm Coast, Florida. So let's get started by taking a look at some national statistics. The first up to bat will be the numeric growth by state in the U.S. from 2021 to 22. And as you can see, Florida comes in second with 416,754 new residents from 2021 to 22. Next, we'll look at the percentage of growth, and here we see Florida's number one with 1.9% growth. On the other end of the spectrum, we have New York, California, and Illinois with the largest numeric decline from 2021 to 22, with the decline of over 100,000, with New York topping the charts at a whopping negative 341,000. So even more astonishing numbers would be the domestic migration numbers. Here, the United States Census Bureau reported that the biggest gains from net domestic migration last year were in Florida with 318,855, while the biggest losses were in California with just over 343,000, New York right at 300,000, and Illinois with 141,000 people leaving the state. So I don't know about you, but this data shows me that Florida is a booming state, okay, with tons of growth, whereas other states are having a hard time keeping their residents. My thoughts are people are trying to escape, higher crime areas, higher taxes, and ever since COVID, people were able to start working remotely from home. And hey, here in Florida, we have beautiful weather year-round, which a lot of people find very attractive, right? I know I do. Hey, so with that said, you can probably see how easy it can be for one area to go down in price while another part of the country rises in price. With that, let's move on to some local statistics and get a glimpse of what's going on here with single-family residential homes in the Palm Coast area. All right, so the number of sales in the first quarter went up from 113 in January to 242 home sales in March. That's more than double the sales from January to March. New listings also showed an upward trajectory, ending with 298 new listings in March. The median sales price also went up for the first quarter of 2023. It started at $365,000 in January, dipped down a little bit in February to $360,000, then went back up to $370,000 in March. All right, so let's look at months of inventory. So in January, we had 8 months of inventory, which fell to 4 months inventory in March. So what kind of market are we in? All right, well, if you've been watching my videos, you know that a neutral market is when the market has 6 to 7 months inventory, and any number below 6 or 7 months will be considered a seller's market. So with this data, we know that the first quarter ended with a 4-month supply, making it a seller's market with a median sales price of $370,000. So looking back, when was the last time we had 4 months of inventory? And what was the median sales price back then? Well, the answer is August of 2022 with a median sales price of $385,000. That is a difference of $15,000 from August of 2022 to March of 2023, making a 3.896% reduction in the median sales price for Palm Coast single-family residential homes in the same type of market. So what caused this to happen? Well, more than likely it's a combination of a bunch of different things. And at first I thought it was strictly a supply and demand thing, but this graph shows March of 2023 had more sales with fewer active listings. This shows higher demand and less supply than August of 2022, but still had a lower median sales price. Next, I looked at inflation. Although a lot of the damage was already done since inflation grew substantially all the way through June of 2022, inflation started to settle a tad through the second half of 22, heading downward throughout the first quarter of 2023, ending with 5% in March. Finally, I looked at interest rates, which showed that the interest rates in August of 22 were between 4.99 and 5.55% with an average of 5.27%. It was between 6.32 and 6.73% with an average of 6.625% in March of 23. So what does this ultimately mean? Well, this means that you would have an interest and principal payment of $1,704 with a loan of $385,000 in August of 22, and you would have a payment of $1,895 for a loan of $370,000 if you purchase in March of 23. That's right. At these different percentage rates, you would have paid less per month and for a more expensive home if you would have bought it back in August of 22. So, you know, what would the payment be with the $385,000 sales price and the higher interest rates? Well, the payment would be $1,972 a month. That's $268 a month more, or better yet, $96,480 over the loan, over the life of the loan. So wow, that's a pretty big difference, huh? Hey, in conclusion, I think there's a lot of factors that you must factor in whenever you're trying to figure out, you know, why home prices are happening a certain way. But the main reason the price is lower this year compared to the same type of market last year, in my opinion, is the higher interest rates and buyers being able to afford to purchase the homes for sale, okay? Florida is a fantastic state. People are moving here in droves, which will keep the demand up. And there is ultimately still a low supply of homes to quench that demand, which will keep home prices steady here in Palm Coast, unless interest rates really see bigger increases, okay? So, hey, I wanna thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my quarterly market update video. So if you have any questions, please hit me up. My name's Tony Guerin with RE/MAX Select Professionals, Guarantee.com. Results that move you. I'll see you around.